My name is Aakriti Prasai. I am a fifth-year doctoral student in the clinical counseling program at NYU. My research program follows like two main interest areas. So the first is sort of understanding first generation college students, as well as students and youth who have bicultural identity experiences, and then ways of thinking about identity, thinking about culture, community impacts mental health, like what can be risk factors and what can be protective factors. My second area of interest is how psychologists and mental health providers can do a better job of integrating patients' culture and lived experiences into mental health care, specifically when we're thinking about psychological assessment and diagnosis. Bettering the lives of children and families is really important to me because kids are the future, children are the future, and there's already a youth mental health crisis going on, specifically with a challenging political landscape, social landscapes, things that are going on with social media, everything post-COVID, and many rising inequalities, especially for kids. And I think it's important to think about how all of these things are impacting the next generation, because youth, I think, are often a product of their environments. So even if you think about like kids being plants that are growing, it's often the love and attention that's poured into them that supports their growth, but also like the soil and the climate and like context that they're in. So I think it's really important to just think about ways to enrich that environment, remove barriers for children and families, and then ultimately support parents and support caregivers so that they can support themselves and their kids. I'm learning through my research and interviews that I'm doing and even lived experiences that there's something really cool about being the first in your family, maybe to challenge notions of what it means to pursue an education or what it means to do meaningful work, what it means to be out of survival mode. Like there's a lot that comes with like being the first. I think I'm finding that despite a lot of these challenges, a lot of first-gen students throughout their lifespan are thinking really deeply about their families and their communities and how to give back and how they can further support like future generations. Because of feelings of guilt and other stressors, because students are navigating two separate worlds of the academic world and home world and all these other pressures that come with that being low income. But at the same time, I think universities and other institutions, by empowering first-gen college students, it's a great way of empowering communities and like being able to transfer that knowledge forward. So what I mean when I say like a lifespan approach to first-gen college students is that I think there's a lot of research currently on how do we get first-generation college students to college, and then some research on how do we get first-generation students out of college. But then there's not really that much being explored currently about, so you went through this experience and you went through college and it was transformative and all these things. How does that impact you moving forward? So like how does one like negotiate and understand their identity as they go forth with whatever comes next? How does that influence like future decisions that a first generation college students makes, especially straddling these worlds? And then I think in addition, there's a lot around sort of this question of children and families. What does it mean to grow up like low income, and how do we even get kids to the point where they're in high schools where they can even like think about like applying to colleges? So thinking about like the whole span of like supporting students who identify as bicultural or graduates who identify as being the first to have done something like this. I think advice that I have, I don't know if it sounds like a cliche, but like is to try everything and to really like go along with things that you're curious about. Question everything, like what aligns with your values, what might not align with your values. Because I think a PhD or doing research is really a time period to explore. Ultimately, you're also focusing on one thing to like do your dissertation on, but and be really open to seeing where this career path takes you, or even the questions that you ask, be open to seeing like what other questions come up as a result of that. Because I think it might not always take you in directions that you thought it might go in, but just to be very open to trying like new experiences.